Hello and welcome to another Giant Slayer TFT Top 5 Countdown video. Today we'll be counting down the top 5 compositions for patch 12.11, which is the release patch for set 7. Dragonlands is finally here, and with that comes an entirely new meta. Also new is our approach to the meta for each patch, as we'll be doing 2 top 5 compositions per patch. The reason for doing this is that the meta shifts a lot in TFT even within one patch cycle. Because of the timing on each video, the first one of the patch, aka this video, will be on the more speculative side. Which compositions have been the strongest immediately after a patch is our focus, and then the next top 5 video further on in the patch will be more of a concrete version of where the meta settled. This new schedule, along with our other meta-focused videos, should give a much fuller picture of the meta for each patch. With that long-winded introduction out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into our top 5 with the number 5 composition, Warrior Reroll. Before we dive into this composition, we want to reiterate this list is more so on the speculative side based on the initial metadata of the new patch. There are quite a few compositions doing well post-release of Dragonlands, so honestly this number 5 spot could go to a number of them. As always, our main criteria is based on top 4 consistency. That's where Warrior Reroll comes in because it's one of those compositions that can do really well if the conditions are met. We definitely don't recommend playing this build every game, but if you have the right opener, good augments, and items, it's definitely consistent top 4 composition. But what is Warrior Reroll? Warrior Reroll consists of 2 main variations based around different carries, Yone and Olaf. Yone carry focuses more on the warrior synergy with Mirage mixed in and rerolls at level 6. Due to Mirage playing a role in this composition, it means certain variations won't do particularly well, like Pirates or Electric. Mirage variations that work best are Spell Sword, Duelist, Executioner, and Warlord. The other variation with Olaf is a level 7 reroll board that can either be more warrior heavy or scale scorn heavy, depending on whether you have items for Diana or not. This board is easier to force, though does work best when you can begin stacking Olaf early with Glorious Deaths. Either way, the top 4 conditions for both variations is to 3-star your main carry, either Yone or Olaf. In both cases, it's common to 3-star other champions as well. Shen, Braum, Thresh, and Olaf are all 3-starred with Yone, while Diana, Braum, and Lilia can be 3-starred alongside of Olaf. The win condition for both variations besides the 3-star carry is usually Yasuo 2 in the late game. To wrap it up, just a quick look at the augments and items. Plenty of augments do well with Warrior Reroll, but a few to consider are Tiamat, Preparation, Combat Training, and Best Friends. Hallucinate is a Mirage-specific synergy for Yone, and of course, any Crest or Heart augment can open up your board to other champions. Tiny Titans is also particularly good so you can sack health to build your economy or open fort stack Olaf. Rageblade, Bloodthirster, and Quicksilver are honestly playable on almost any auto attack carry in the set, including Yone and Olaf. Rageblade can also be replaced with Titan's Resolve or RFC. Just keep in mind that both champions are melee carriers, which means CC is their greatest weakness, so always try to secure some form of anti-CC. Alright, that was a lot to cover for one composition, so let's keep it simpler with our next composition that comes in at number 4, Xayah. Xayah lets her feathers fly as one of the stronger 4-cost carries in the current meta. While there's a ton of reroll boards floating around, Xayah focuses more on level 7 and 8 board with a decent scaling into late game. The core of the composition will be Xayah, 2 Rage Wings, another Swift Shot, and a strong frontline. Frontline is the most important part because you want time for Xayah to ramp up in a fight. Basically, think of it this way, the longer the fight goes, the more likely Xayah will win. There are plenty of variations for Xayah, but a few frontline champions to consider are Hecarim, Ornn, Nico, and Idis. Idis is particularly good when the Shimmer Scale item is Draven's Axe because Xayah is one of the best holders for it. As for the backline, you can play either 2 or 4 Swift Shot, though this depends a lot on your frontline. 2 is often enough, with Twitch being great for the guild bonus or Ezreal to provide Tempest when Ornn is in your frontline. Xayah carry is definitely one of the easier compositions to put together, as all you need is Xayah, her 2 synergies active, and a frontline. Items are also key, though once again they aren't particularly diverse, so the top options are Rageblade, Bloodthirster, Infinity Edge, Deathblade, Runins, and Quicksilver. Rageblade is a must-have in either Infinity Edge, Deathblade, or Draven's Axe for the damage boost. Quicksilver is not always a necessity, but protecting Xayah against CC never really hurts. As for a few specific augment choices, the best are anything related to Xayah. Scorch and Press the Attack are quite good, as are any damage or attack speed boosting augments. Rage Wing or Swift Shot, Crests, and Hearts are helpful because they give you more options for your board. Previously on the PBE, Whisper Xayah was quite good, but since Whispers was nerfed going into live, it's not as common to see, though still playable. Overall, Xayah is a consistent non-reroll option in a meta overrun by reroll boards. Top 4 conditions when playing Xayah are 2-starring her and having an upgraded frontline. There aren't too many late game scaling options, though champions like Bard, Soraka, and Park can be quite good. Xayah 3 is also a plausible win condition, though not reliable. For the most part, the goal with Xayah is to have a strong stage 4 and 5 that propels you into the top 4. Moving on, we have our first dragon composition of the new set coming in at number 3, Dragons. Okay, maybe we could have had a more creative name, but it does describe the composition perfectly as this board utilizes either the Dragon Horde augment or Dragon Alliance augment. Once you have either of those augments, it's dragon time. Basically, what both of those augments do is allow you to play more than one dragon, and since dragons are quite powerful, having multiple of them is amazing. Disclaimer warning here is that this composition is not playable without one of those augments, since normally your board is limited to one dragon. The actual composition varies a lot depending on your luck. Any of the 8-cost dragons can be used, though Idis is by far the best frontliner and Xayah tends to be the best damage dealer until Aoshin. The common way to play this board is to put Idis, Shi-O-Yu, and either Xayah or Sai-Fen as damage dealers. Once you have 3 dragons in, you can easily coast to level 8 or 9 and then transition towards a late game dragon like Aoshin. Quite honestly, this is one of the strongest boards in the meta because of how powerful the dragons are despite the fact they take up 2 slots on your board. The top 4 conditions are being able to hit level 8 and play 3 to 4 upgraded dragons on your board. This does mean low rolling the early game may put you at risk to lose before that point in the game, but generally, once you hit either dragon augment, your board strength shoots up a lot since you're given a free dragon. The win condition is simply playing upgraded dragons in the late game with whatever champions you can sprinkle in alongside them, such as Bard, Soraka, Yasuo, or Pyke. Items really depend on the dragon, like Idis wants frontline items, Xayah wants attack speed, and Sai-Fen wants survivability like Titan's Bloodthirster or Quicksilver. It's usually fairly obvious what each dragon uses effectively, and if you want, you can literally just stack Titan's Resolve since that item scales well with dragons. Before we move on, we want to reiterate this composition is only playable with either Dragon Horde or Dragon Alliance. Do not try it without it. Our final 2 compositions are very similar in design because both of them use the Astral synergy. Up first is the number 2 composition, Astral Varus. Astral is by far the strongest synergy right now because most of the Astral champions are quite good, and Astral makes 3-starring them very, very easy. This variation is all about Varus and 3-starring him at level 7. The board can either be 4 Swift Shot with Bruiser frontline or 6 Astral with 2 Swift Shot. The 4 Swift Shot variation is more damage output, while 6 Astral can scale better into the late game because of the extra gold gained from the Astral Orbs. Either way, the main carry is Varus. The top 4 conditions are to roll at level 7 to hit Varus 3, which should be quite easy thanks to the Astral synergy. Once you've hit Varus 3, you're honestly chilling until the end of the game. Of course, items, augments, and having other upgraded champions will help, but Varus 3 early into stage 4 is such a huge power spike that you'll easily be able to top 4 from that position. Alawi and Nami are the most common Astral champions to pair alongside of Varus, and ideally you want to 3-star them as well, particularly Alawi, since she's your main frontliner. Items can be Warmog, Stoneplate, Dragon's Claw, or Bramble Vest. Varus items are Rageblade, Deathblade, Infinity Edge, Quicksilver, Bloodthirster, and Runan's Hurricane. Any leftover items can go to Nami, though Shojin tends to be her best item to spam more heals. As for augments, anything that can buff Varus' attack damage or attack speed is quite good. Intercosmic Gifts is by far the best augment since it has a chance to give you additional rewards from Astral Orbs. Trade Sector is another augment that synergizes well with Astral. Economy synergies are actually quite good for this composition since the more gold you have, the faster you'll be able to hit Varus 3, and trust us, you will hit Varus 3. The other Astral composition that's doing well is our number 1 composition, Astral Mage. I want to preface this by saying, yes, there are other variations of Mage that can do well. Mage in general is one of the strongest options in the meta, particularly with a Mage emblem. But the easiest version that multiple players will play every lobby is Astral Mage simply because Nami 3 is ridiculously good. As you can guess, the board is a reroll board thanks to Astral. You don't have to play Astral right away, but you will want it active by level 6. Early game you can open with trainers, as stacking Namzi early can be quite good for mages. Once you hit level 6, the goal is to find Nami 3. This can be done by slow rolling at level 6 or just YOLO rolling it down to make use of the Astral Orbs. Either way, the goal is Nami 3 as fast as possible. Once you have Nami 3, the game is really whatever you want to make it. Ryze is a common main carry for mages, though Mage Emblem also opens up the floor to champions like Aoshin and Aurelion Sol. Nami is a pseudo-carry utility champion since she can do decent damage, but also provides a lot of healing. Her best items are definitely Shojin, but also Static Shiv. The top 4 conditions for mage boards are either snowballing off of Nami 3 or hitting the late game and using Aurelion Sol with a Mage Emblem. The frontline is usually Sylas, Lilia, Namzi, with Alawi being a good bruiser to put in since she's Astral and can be 3-starred easily. The main win condition is basically just an upgraded late game board with things like Zoe 2, Ryze 3, Sylas 3, and whichever Mage Emblem champion you're using like Aurelion Sol 2. Mage Crest or Mage Crown are definitely top tier augments for this composition, since you can slot in additional champions and turn them into a mage. Mage Conference is another specific augment that can do well, though preferably you want it on 2-1 and not later. Beyond that, anything that increases your board damage or provides bonus mana like Blue Battery, Lunad's Echo, Jeweled Lotus, or Axiom Arc are all useful augment options. Overall, Astral Mage is by far the easiest composition to play and force every single game, so go out there and enjoy the free LP until either the next major patch hits or they hotfix it. And with that, we're done with our first look at the 12-11 meta compositions. But before we go, we do have a few quick honorable mentions to talk about. There are a ton of compositions floating around in the meta right now, so we want to keep it short to just a few, with the first honorable mention being Xayah. Xayah on the PvE was a beast, but since then the ways to play Xayah have been nerfed. Mirage Xayah, Whispers Xayah, and Revel Xayah are all playable variations, but it can be difficult to succeed. The top 4 conditions are Xayah 2 and ideally Yasuo 2 with a good Mirage buff. Speaking of, Whispers are capable of doing well in the meta with a few potential variations. Siphon is still the most popular, and regardless if they're your carry or not, your board will want Siphon. Elise is also gaining traction in the meta as a Whispers carry, but overall this comp struggles in the late game. The top 4 conditions are Siphon 2, Elise 3, and Pike 2. And that's all for today, folks. We'll be doing a follow-up top 5 later on in the patch to see where the meta settles and which compositions remain the strongest. Let us know in the comment section below what your top 5 is and which compositions are your favorite to play. Remember to check out the Xayah TFT socials in the description below to keep up to date with any news, shows, and other content. Thank you for watching. If you're enjoying our content, be sure to like button and subscribe for future Giant Slayer TFT videos.